is a solution to determining the volume of this revolution. We'll tell you how it's done. It isn't that hard.
So, Kasib, how do you do this?
I don't know.
So Kasib, what you want to do is first find out what the equation is, which is 2x squared, and then revolve it around y equals 1, because that's the axis that you're going to be revolving it around. Well, your step 1 should be to find the intersection, and then after that you should be able to plug it into your calculator and find the interval of that, and then press enter and you should have your answer. Your end result should look something like this, where you have it revolving around that point and you find the intersection to be 0.707, and after you plug it into your washer method you should get a total down there of 1.1847.
I get it now.
So, Kasib, how do you do this?
I don't know.
This is a slightly harder problem. However, it is still quite easy to do. What you're trying to find is the area in the shaded region as it is revolved around y equals -1. F of x, which is the top one, is square root of x, and the bottom one is g of x, which is x to the 4th. Your first step will be to find an intersection between these two so that you know exactly where the b is. Step 2 is determining which one is top and which one is bottom, and f of g is top, g of x is bottom. Step 3 will be to plug into your equation, which is pi integral of 1 minus big R squared minus 1 minus little r squared times d of x. Your interval should be part of your intersection point and where it starts, a to b. After that, you're just going to simply solve the equation after plugging it in. Now, this should what your final thing should look like, where you have the washer method going with the two circles there, and basically you're going to find it as it revolves around b. You're going to find a volume of these two functions as they revolve around the y-axis of -1, and after plugging it in and going through your calculator you should get a 4.1539. So Kasib, what do you think?
I get it now.
So, Kasib, how do you do this?
I don't know.
Find the volume of the shaded region A as it revolves around y equals 0.75. G of x equals 0.5 sine of x, and f of x equals 0.5 cosine of x. Your first step is to find the interval again, which is between the intersections of where the shaded region A is at between the two functions. Your next step was be to determine which one's on top and which line is on bottom. After determining that, which one's bigger R and little r, you will have to plug it into the washer method equation, or in Cook's world, the donut method. Step 4 will be to plug everything into your calculator, and the final step will just be pressing enter. Your work should look something like this. As you can see, A and B, or their intervals, are 45 and 255. And the equation is pi, interval of between 45 and 255, and it's the integral of 0.75 minus dx squared minus 0.75 minus f of x squared. Plug this into your calculator and you should get a total of 381.837.
I get it now.